Hi, boys and girls. It's Miss Kelly, and I am here today to help you to fill in your map in your Chapter 1 packet. We're going to be using the clues on page 20 to label the map on page 21 of your Chapter 1 packet. You can also open your textbook to page 17. And there is a map on the bottom of page 17 that will also help you. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to take one clue at a time. Now, I labeled my map using just text boxes. Unfortunately, I did not realize that the photocopying was so dark. So you may have to label for the oceans and the Gulf of Mexico, draw a line, maybe write it in the margin and draw the line for yourself to be able to see. There is a compass rose right there. It's just really hard to see it because of the copy. So before we begin, I just wanted to draw your attention to the side of the map. There are your latitude coordinates, and along the bottom and top of your map, those are the longitude coordinates. Okay, so we have our latitude and longitude lines on our map. So let's take a look at page 20 on clue number 1 says label the ocean that lies off the west coast of the United States. So unfortunately the compass rose, we cannot see it, but think about north, south, east, west. West would be to the left. So over here is the west coast. So the ocean that lies off the west coast of the United States is the Pacific Ocean. And the Pacific Ocean is also the largest ocean in the world. So if you would like to pause or stop the video and label the Pacific Ocean on your map, please do so. And then you can restart the video when you are finished. Okay, clue number 2 says label the ocean that lies off the east coast of the United States. So over here, remember north, south, east, west. So east is to the right. Here is the ocean off the east coast of the United States. That is the Atlantic Ocean, which is the second largest ocean in the world. If you have ever been to the Jersey Shore, you have put your feet in the Atlantic Ocean. So label the Atlantic Ocean for clue number 2. Clue number 3 says label the large body of water that lies between Texas and Florida. So if you're looking at your map, Texas would be down here. Florida is over here. We know Florida because it's a peninsula. And the body of water between Texas and Florida is the Gulf of Mexico. So label the Gulf of Mexico. You may have to draw a line out to the margin. If it's too dark, you can't write actually on the shaded area there. So you can just write it in the margin and then draw a line for Gulf of Mexico, and that is clue number 3. Clue number 4 says label the 4 Great Lakes that form part of the border between Canada and the United States. Well, there are 5 Great Lakes, so I labeled all 5. Okay, and if you look at the map in your textbook on page 17, you can see the 5 Great Lakes there. Lake Superior is the lake that is farthest to the north. It is the biggest. Lake Michigan is right here. Lake Huron, Lake Erie, and Lake Erie's tag is kind of over top of it. It's sort of blocking it a little bit. And Lake Ontario. Now, when I was in school, we remembered these by thinking of the word homes. H for Huron, O for Ontario, M for Michigan, E for Erie, and S for Superior, homes. So take a moment to label the Great Lakes right up here. And that is the clue for number 4. Number 5 says label the flatlands across the southeast coast of the United States. So southeast would be right along here. That is known as the Atlantic Coastal Plain. So remember, a plain is a very flat area. This is called the Atlantic Coastal Plain because it is along the coast of the Atlantic Ocean. So label the Atlantic Coastal Plain for number 5. Clue number 6, label the largest river that empties into the Pacific Ocean. That is all the way up here. That is the Columbia River. And it sort of sits on the border between Washington State and Oregon. So it's right here. I sort of traced it over with a blue squiggle there. It says Columbia River. So that is clue number 6. Label the largest river that empties into the Pacific Ocean. Clue number 7 says label the river that runs all the way from the Rocky Mountains into the Mississippi River. So here are the Rocky Mountains. Here's the Mississippi River. The river that runs from the Rockies into the Mississippi River is the Missouri River. And again, I kind of tried to trace over it with a squiggle, and I labeled it right there, the Missouri River. And that is clue number 7. Clue number 8 says label the river that runs east from Lake Ontario into the Atlantic Ocean. So first I need to find Lake Ontario, and the river that flows northeast is the St. Lawrence River. And that empties out into the Atlantic Ocean up here. So clue number 8 is St. Lawrence River. And again, you may have to draw a line and write in the margin. I know that there's not a whole lot of room there. Clue number 9 says label the longest and biggest river in the United States, which has its source in Minnesota and its mouth in Louisiana. And that is the Mississippi River. Now, I tried to make a squiggle over this. I didn't get it to go all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico, but it does empty out into the Gulf of Mexico. And if you look on your map, you will see that it does run all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. So that's the Mississippi River. It runs all the way down and empties out into the Gulf of Mexico. And there is the Mississippi River. Clue number 10 says label the main river just west of the Appalachian Mountains that runs into the Mississippi River. So these are the Appalachian Mountains, and the river to the west of it is the Ohio River. And again, I tried to make a squiggle. I think it got a little shifted there, but that is the Ohio River right here. It's just west of the Appalachian Mountains. You can see it in your book on page 17. So you shouldn't have to draw a squiggle. There is already a line there. My squiggle just got moved. Okay. Number 11, label the river that forms part of the border between the United States and Mexico. And it actually forms the border of the state of Texas. That's the Rio Grande River. Right down here. So the Rio Grande River forms the border of Texas, and that actually separates the United States on the north and Mexico on the south. So clue number 11 is the Rio Grande River. Clue number 12 says label the large flat land between the Rocky Mountains and the Mississippi River. So here's the Rocky Mountains, here's the Mississippi River. That is known as the Great Plains. And remember, plains is flat land. That is the land that many, many years ago, there were buffalo that lived there. Now it is great for farming. So that is the Great Plains, is this area right in here. It's very flat land. Number 13 says label the main mountain range that runs through the eastern United States, and that is the Appalachian Mountains. Right here, the Appalachian Mountains. And that is the main mountain chain on the east coast of the United States. That is clue number 13. Clue number 14 says label the first mountain range west of the Great Plains. So here's the Great Plains. Directly west of it is the Rocky Mountains. That is also the largest mountain range and longest mountain range in the U.S. So the Rocky Mountains are right here. And finally, clue 15, label the high mountains in the western United States with a Spanish name. And that is the Sierra Nevada Mountains out here in the state of California. The Sierra Nevada Mountains. And again, you can find the spelling in your book there on page 17. And also a better view of that mountain range there. I also labeled the Gulf coastal plains because we talked about that and it was in the book. It is in your book. The Gulf coastal plains are this area right here. It is low-lying land right off the coast of the Gulf of Mexico. And this is the area that floods very, very badly when there are hurricanes and tropical storms. This area, the people that live down here, they are the ones that were on the news back in August and early September when there were hurricanes down here that destroyed many, many homes. And partially because this land is so low-lying, there really isn't anything to stop these storms and hurricanes from sort of, sweeping across. So these are known as the Gulf coastal plains because they're right on the coast of the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, so you can keep this map up on your screen. You can look at the map in your book also to help you. If you would like to color or highlight or shade, if it is easier for you to do that, you can certainly do that. I just did it on my computer here just because it was easier. And I will have a picture of this below the assignment so that you can look at this picture as you label. I use different colors. If you notice, I used red for mountains. I used brown for plains. I used sort of like an aqua blue for the lakes and a darker blue for the rivers and the oceans and the Gulf. So you can certainly do that if you would like. If you would like to cut out and make little labels like I did, you can certainly do that. Just take some paper, write the name, cut it out with scissors and take a little glue stick or tape and put it on there. Maybe, cut out from a separate sheet of paper the names and then just tape them on, okay, or glue them on. Okay, make sure you bring your packet to school on Thursday. Tomorrow is Wednesday and everybody will be home. We will be playing a game to review the landforms that we've learned so far. And you will be doing a page or two in your New England States packet. So this is your only assignment for today. It is to look at this map on page 21 of your packet and use the clues on page 20 to label it. Okay, if you have any questions, please leave them below the assignment, and I will see you on Thursday.